A delectable Japanese tradition has taken root in American soil. We have been graced with the establishment of our very own kitchen stadium, where our nimble chairman has brought together the pungent flavors of East and West. It is here where the best of the best from around the world meet and face the ultimate gourmet challenge. Hi, Alton Brown here in Kitchen Stadium, deep in the heart of the Chairman's Culinary Academy, which of course is gracefully orbiting 247 statute miles over your home planet. I understand that the shuttle bringing in today's kitchenauts has docked, and as soon as they acclimate to the artificial gravity, we're going to have ourselves a food fight. So please allow me to introduce a veritable pantheon of culinary giants. Your very own Iron Chefs, America. Iron Chef Bobby Flay. Iron Chef Masaharu Morimoto. Iron Chef Mario Batali. And Iron Chef Kat Cora. In mere moments, one of these Iron Chefs will be pitted against our challenger, who thirsts to discover our secret ingredient and enter the heat of battle here in Kitchen Stadium. At just 26 years of age, today's challenger was the first American ever to win France's highest culinary honor, the Milieu Ouvrier de France Association Medal and Diploma. He's considered a pioneer in American cooking and constantly pushes culinary boundaries with his playful, experimental attitude towards ingredients, techniques, and presentation. He refers to his New York City eatery, David Burke and Donatella, as simply a modern American restaurant. Chef David Burke.
Chef Burke, welcome. You honor us with your presence.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I've never seen a challenger chef walk in the Kitchen Stadium with such confidence. How do you feel?
I feel good. Ready to go. Ready to go.
Excellent. Each battle has a unique recipe with a flavor and essence all its own. And so on this day in Kitchen Stadium, I have decided that our challenger, Chef Burke, will face off against Iron Chef Flay.
Iron Chef Bobby Flay is known worldwide through his numerous books and TV appearances. The opening of his newest restaurant, Bar Américain, has only helped solidify his reputation as a master of American cuisine. Now, he brings his reputation and passion for food to do battle here in Kitchen Stadium. You know, in some ways, you could call this the battle of the New York Titans. Chef Burke and Iron Chef Flay, both flamboyant, very well known, but they're very different critters when you look at their food. Chef Burke, very playful. He's almost the Joker of the food world. He's into very decorative, artistic presentations. Chef Flay, more straightforward and in your face. So I think it's going to be a battle of presentations, also a battle of flavors.
But there is one more ingredient to this battle, our secret ingredient. The theme on which our chefs will offer their succulent variations. Today's secret ingredient is ham!
Wow.
So now, America, with an open heart and an empty stomach, I say unto you in the words of my uncle,
And Battle Ovis Rios is on here in Kitchen Stadium.
On a leg.
You can tell by looking at the meat that this lamb is indeed legally lamb. It's under 1 year of age.
Can we go back or no? Yeah, you can go back. It's like a buffet. Yeah, I know. Come on.
And although this is a very common ingredient for chefs such as these, Americans, not so much. In fact, in this country, we consume about 66 pounds of beef per annum.
Leave it all here on the rack.
And lamb, less than a single pound. You can see now that Iron Chef Bobby Flay breaking out 2 racks of lamb from the rib section, as well as part of a loin. Over on the challenger side, he's got some shrimp and butter in a food processor, making a little shrimp puree there and scooping that out. You know, interesting that he chose to do this rather than attack his lamb right off the bat. Now, the challenger also with some interesting plates already up on his workstation. I see a small round bed of nails and what looks to be a giant rock of salt. Chef Burke's certainly known for his playful approach to food and his playful approach to presentation.
We don't really play it safe. I don't play it safe at the restaurant. We do risky. We do, high wire food. I think that Iron Chef was made for David Burke because he thinks along lines that no one else does. Honestly, I'm intrigued just to see what he's going to do.
Over on the Iron Chef side, we saw his sous chef Dan skewer some lobster. Those now going into a pot. Over on the Challenger side, Chef Burke's sous chef Chris is peeling some spuds. So I can see a lot from here, but there is so much more that I cannot see down on the floor of Kitchen Stadium.
Let's go, you guys.
And for that, we're going to catch up with my friend Kevin Brosh. What do you see, Kevin?
Well, I see lots, actually. In the food processor on the Iron Chef side, there was lemon juice, tahini, and chickpeas. On Challenger side, Chef Burke, we had some tapioca. And on Bobby Flay's side, I don't know, did you see the smoking chips? He's got some smoking chips out.
He's setting fire to the whole place. Those actually look like hickory chips to me. Smell like it, too. Bobby Flay will have to wait for those flames to simmer down. Otherwise, he'll end up with too much of a soot flavor on whatever he puts into the pan. See, back with the Challenger, Chef Burke, taking responsibility for breaking down his own lamb. He's cutting some long strips from a leg there. Iron Chef Bobby Flay also breaking down his lamb, cutting a strip off that loin.
Now, I'm sorry, Alan, I wasn't sure. Did you mention this beautiful trophy here on the Challenger side?
Yes.
Have you got to that?
There's a nice hunk of what is obviously a big lump of salt. When I talked to the chef earlier, I made a guess that was from the deep in the ground of Utah. He assured me that's from high in the Himalayas. I'm not sure at this point if that's for presentation or if it's part of the process, but I do know we won't have any trouble following that rock wherever it goes. Okay, take a look at what Iron Chef Flay is doing. He's Frenching off those ribs, removing the connective tissue and the fat from in between all of those ribs. Over on David Burke's side of the kitchen, his sous chef Jason there making a mixture of kumquat paste, cloves, peppercorn, wine vinegar, and star anise. Kumquat's not something we often see here in Kitchen Stadium. It's a very, very, very small citrus-like fruit, and you can actually eat them whole because of their very thin, very sweet skin. I see Jason adding some jalapenos to that pot, so a little sweet and a little spicy being blended together there.
Iron Chef Bobby Flay dousing those flames on the wood chips moments ago. And apparently going to be smoking a loin.
Loin, of course, very, very tender, and it's got a texture that will take smoke very quickly.
On the Iron Chef side, sous chef Brian has mixed that chickpea puree with some cornmeal, and he's now working with that right now. Iron Chef Bobby Flay, in one of the saute pans, has covered a beautiful rack of lamb with oil and cumin.
Cumin, a very, 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 very old spice, and very, very often associated with lamb. So he's going with kind of a Middle Eastern approach. Time is 48 minutes, 58 seconds, Chef, remaining in this battle. Back in Chef Burke's kitchen, I see his sous chef Chris is making some French fries. He's got himself a French fry press over there. You can see that grid-shaped blade squeezing out those hand-cut French fries.
There we go. Okay, yeah, and there are some of those in the deep fryer right now. The Challenger Chef Burke is working with some fabricated lamb meat on brick dough.
A brick dough, that's spelled B-R-I-K, is a very thin dough, kind of like the phyllo dough that we often see here in Kitchen Stadium. Some herbs and that shrimp puree also being added to that brick dough. You can see that brick kind of roll being rolled up now by Challenger Burke. You can only assume that he's going to roast those, although with his playful approach to food, I have no real idea what he's going to do with that.
Right now on the Iron Chef side, Bobby Flay's sous chef Dan is working with some pieces of lobster and lamb meat being skewered right there together. Could that be considered a surf and turf, I guess?
Absolutely. Of course that would be a surf and turf. Why not? That lobster is the boiled tail meat that we saw Dan working with earlier.
Not to be outdone, there's the challengers put a lobster into a wok. On the side of Kitchen Stadium. Iron Chef Bobby Flay also working on another spice mixture of coriander, sweet paprika, smoked paprika, and dry mustard.
Okay, that spice rub was massaged into Bobby Flay's second rack of lamb. That rack now going into a pan to sear. You can see it right next to the cumin-covered rack of lamb that Chef Flay was working on earlier.
15 minutes have elapsed.
1/4 of the way through Battle Lamb here in Kitchen Stadium between Iron Chef Bobby Flay and the Challenger Chef David Burke. So far, we've seen Iron Chef Bobby Flay place some lamb loin in a pan and put the pan over some hickory chips to smoke. And both his cumin-covered and spice-rubbed racks of lamb are searing on the stovetop. Meanwhile, Challenger David Burke has joined some pieces of lamb with shrimp puree and rolled them into pieces of brick dough. He also has some tapioca out on a tray, and some French fries have been cut up and are in the deep fryer. Well, the heat is on here in Kitchen Stadium, and the action continues when Iron Chef America returns.
This Food Network program brought to you by Splenda No Calorie Sweetener.
Because the world is not ready for Formula 410, there's new Formula 409. Destroys any mess and nothing else.
Welcome back to Iron Chef America here in Kitchen Stadium. David Burke taking on Iron Chef Bobby Flay. The weapon of choice today, lamb. Iron Chef Bobby Flay has his 2 racks of lamb at saute pans. The potatoes have been chopped and are also sauteing in a pan. Some chipotle paste has been pureed in a blender, and some sweet potatoes are being peeled and run through a mandolin. Meanwhile, on challenger David Burke's side, he has finished making his brick dough wraps. Some red wine and mirepoix have been added to the lobster frying in a wok, and his French fries are out of the fryer and are being transformed into pastry rings. Clearly, 2 culinary geniuses are at work, but there are other culinary minds here connected to very big appetites. They are our judges, and to introduce them, Kevin Brosh.
Elton, ladies and gentlemen, Con Benoit, here come your judges. First, she's wildly adventurous in the kitchen. In fact, she says she'll try anything once. It also happens that she's also a best-selling author, a 3-time Grammy nominee, and has sold 25 million albums to date. I'd be more than happy to save her soul. Jewel. Next, she's the deliciously insightful editor of Food and Wine magazine. She's also a board member of City Harvest, the nation's oldest food rescue organization, Dana Cowan. Finally, she's the New York anchor for TV's The Insider, which means she has the inside track on all celebrity doings. She also knows what they're eating and doesn't miss a bite herself. Laura Spencer.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll get back to our judges in a bit, but for now, let's catch up on the action on the floor.
So, Elton, on the Iron Chef side, well, we have a mixture of cream and maple syrup. Those pureed chipotles have been added to that.
Right. I also see those mandolin sweet potatoes have been added to that mixture, and the whole thing heading into a gratin dish.
Brian, are you in good shape? I'm good. Sweet potatoes in the oven? No, 2 minutes.
So that dish will bake, making sort of a sweet potato au gratin.
And on the challenger side, to that wok with the lobster, the wine, the mirepoix, some chicken stock and some veal stock have also been added to that.
I'm intrigued to watch the butchery method being used by David Burke. He's taking the back off of the rack of lamb there. Very curious to see what he's going to be doing with that. Not a traditional cut.
Right behind the challenger, sorry, some pastrami sheets.
Pastrami sheets.
What do you know about those? I mean, first time I've seen those.
I am completely and utterly stumped and humiliated. I can only guess that that is something like a sheet gelatin that has all the salt and cure and pepper that is necessary to create pastrami already on it, so that all he has to do is wrap
some lamb in it? You have like a pastrami lamb?
Either that or a very flavorful wallpaper. In fact, I see the rack David Burke was just working on going down on that sheet right now. Those sheets will really impart a strong pastrami flavor to that meat.
So we have a mole being made on the Iron Chef Bobby Flay's side. Mixture of chicken stock, blue corn tortilla, cinnamon, peanuts, and allspice.
And I also see some molasses going into that pot. You know, very often chocolate goes into moles along with the thousands or so other chilies that can be accepted into that. Usually a very long cooked sauce, but Iron Chef Flay could certainly put one together in the time that he's got left. Back over with Chef Burke, I see his sous chef Jason using a ricer to mash some potatoes. So the challenger with both French fries and now mashed potatoes. Okay, back over with the Iron Chef. I see a pan with some blackberries and onions simmering in it. Iron Chef Flay now breaking down that leg of lamb that he set aside earlier. Not a terribly easy piece of meat to break down. It looks like he's actually going to be taking each one of those muscle groups off separately as opposed to trying to bone it out. David Burke still doing his butchery chores, now working on loin, being very careful to save a lot of pieces of meat that other chefs would probably ignore.
I'm ready to grind, guys.
Lemons going down on the grill. Over on Iron Chef Bobby Flay's side, he's going to wake up those essential oils that lie in the peel and soften some of the acidity that are inside the fruit. Those lemons down on the grill next to the leg of lamb the Iron Chef just cut up. Kevin, do you have an update on those pastrami sheets for us?
I just asked challenger Chef Burke about these sheets. It's actually just plastic with a mixture of corn syrup, cornstarch, and water, just to hold all the pastrami spices together.
I have got to make me some of that.
You've got to try that.
Think of what you could pastrami. That's brilliant. Also, on the challenger side, I see sous chef Jason is grinding up the pieces of lamb Chef Burke was being so careful to hold on to. So, we're just about 37 minutes left here in Battle Lamb. Let's go up and talk to our judges. I'm going to start off on the side where Laura Spencer waits for us. Laura, tell us about what you're thinking right now, what you're smelling, and heck, do you even like lamb? Yeah.
You know, I have to be honest with you. When I heard that was the secret ingredient, not one of my favorite things to work with.
Why?
To eat, because my mother massacred it as a child on Easter.
Don't blame lamb for your mom's cooking sins.
I figured this is no better place to be reintroduced to it than here. 10 great dishes.
Absolutely, and you'll get to those dishes soon enough. Now let's move down to Dana Cowan.
Hi there.
What do you think about what you're seeing?
I think it's really interesting to see these two incredibly talented chefs do some of their signature things. You know, Bobby, so talented, the girls, and of course, David, you know, that pastrami mixture. I'm curious how it's going to all play out with that secret ingredient of lamb.
Let's move down. Jewel, hi.
Hi.
You and lamb go way back?
I'm not very familiar with lamb, but I'm a big fan of moles and sauces, so I'm excited.
So the deep flavors that come out of all of those chilies is something that you are familiar with?
You know, I'm a big fan of the show, and it's really the reason I wanted to be on the show so I could watch these guys go to work and cook and actually get to taste their food for free.
The chairman does generally present the judges with a bill at the end of the show, so this is not, not a free meal. Well, thank you, judges. We're going to go back down to the floor. Let's see that David Burke's got his mallet out and he's flattening one of those pieces of what looks to be a piece that he took off of the loin. Now, that was a fish. I would almost say that Chef Burke was doing a sashimi cut, so possibly a lamb sashimi coming from the challenger today. I see Chef Burke's sous chef Chris with a little combustion there, working with a whole mess of vegetables. We saw him chopping carrots, celery, and some onion, all of that creating a mirepoix, which is now being sauteed.
Over on Bobby Flay's side, some signature Bobby Flay sauces are being worked on. We have cilantro, parsley, and we also have a sauce that has mustard, salt, red wine vinegar, oregano, and olive oil.
Over on the challenger side, right now they're making what looks like lamb meatballs. It's a mixture of ground lamb, breadcrumbs, herbs, and spices, and they're sauteing those, probably going to maybe braise those to completion. Those curious pieces of plastic sheets, they had the pastrami cure on it. We see some of that cure now missing, and those racks went into a pan to sear.
So that blender that Dan, Iron Chef Bobby Flay sous chef, is working on, it's some sort of pea mixture.
Peas are a natural with lamb, both of them usually associated in traditional cuisine with springtime. And if you go to Rome, you'll still get spring peas served with spring lamb.
We had a polenta chickpea mixture on the Iron Chef side.
Okay, polenta, really just a fancy word for cooked cornmeal. That was added to the lemon juice and chickpea mixture we saw Brian working with earlier.
That has been pressed into a gratin dish and put into the blast
30
chiller.
minutes have elapsed.
Halfway through Battle Lamb, and things are really heating up here in Kitchen Stadium. Iron Chef Bobby Flay has been making a mole sauce. He carved up some pieces of leg of lamb, and he has some blackberries and onions simmering on the stove. Meanwhile, challenger David Burke has brought out some sheets of pastrami spices and used them to kind of cure a rack of lamb. He's also been carving up some lamb sashimi and some lamb meatballs of browning in oil. The cooking continues as the competition reaches a boiling point here on Iron Chef America.
Hi, I'm Chef Karen Kleineck from the Scottsdale Culinary Institute.
And this is how we Iron Chef.
The secret ingredient has arrived.
What is it?
Monkfish!
You now have 90 minutes.
We are Team Epicurean. We are Team Crudité.
Students are judged on creativity, taste, presentation, knife cuts, and sanitation.
10 minutes to window! The tension's building.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, finish.
Hey guys, I think we nailed it. It's judgment time.
Each team has prepared 2 dishes.
We're looking for balanced flavors.
That's nice.
Presentation was good, but it's pretty close right now.
And the winner of the $2,000 scholarship is
Team Crudité.
We're all winners. We had a great day.
Tell us how you Iron Chef. Go to foodnetwork.com and watch Iron Chef America Sunday nights at 9/8 Central on Food Network.
Welcome back to Iron Chef America in Kitchen Stadium. This is Battle Lamb, which is raging on between Iron Chef Bobby Flay and the challenger Chef David Burke.
Iron Chef Flay has taken both the cumin-crusted rack of lamb and the spice-rubbed rack of lamb off the stove and placed them into the oven to roast. Cement was given a quick dip in the deep fryer and was added to his spring pea mixture, and his stewed lamb and lobster pieces are on the grill. The challenger, Chef David Burke, has his wok-fried lobster off the stove and into a strainer. His French fry rings are back in the deep fryer, and his pastrami-spiced rack of lamb is now searing in a pan. Let's go down to the floor and catch up with the action.
So those meatballs on the challenger side, Alton, have been put in a soup tureen, had some small pasta added to them as well.
I spy those terrines. Looks like some lamb stock being added to those. It also looks like the mirepoix mixture, sauteed vegetables, added to that concoction. That whole thing's starting to look a heck of a lot like a minestrone soup. Over on the Iron Chef side, sous chef Dan is cutting up some fresh asparagus. So with just about 23 minutes left here in Battle Lamb, let's take a small tour of the various parts of today's secret ingredient. This is average lamb and how it breaks down, which is just a little bit different than a steer. We will start at the back with the leg, and we've seen a lot of leg being used today, even the very front part of the leg, which is called the sirloin. Then we move up into the loin. Now from the loin, we can cut a lot of tender cuts, steaks. Very tender, not a lot of bones. As we move forward into the rib area, we get, guess what? Ribs. That is what we usually call rack of lamb, and it's usually either cut into chops or kind of long bone handles or left whole. It's a favorite of chefs because it delivers a lot of flavor and great texture. Talking of texture, we move forward into the shoulder. Now, although the chefs have access to shoulder today, we're not seeing them use a whole lot of it because it's got a lot of connective tissue, and either the roast or the steaks that are cut for it take a good bit of time to cook. We've also got some shanks, which is down on the forearm, used in things like ossobuco, although that's traditionally veal. And then we've got the breast, which is not a piece that we see in American markets very often, but we have seen move around a little bit here today. A little bit tough, very, very tender, pretty gosh darn tough, or at least as tough as anything is on a lamb. And the wonderful thing about lamb is there isn't anything that isn't tough. So let's get back to the action. Kevin Brosh.
Yes, sir.
I've been gone. Catch me up.
All right, well, let's start with Bobby Chef. Bobby Flay, the Iron Chef. My apologies, Chef. It wouldn't be a day in Kitchen Stadium if I didn't cause this man some grief. Quail eggs on his cutting board right now. No idea where those are going. Moments ago, we saw Iron Chef Bobby Flay working with a blackberry onion mixture, which he's just added some horseradish to right now.
Blackberries, outstanding.
On the challenger, Chef David Burke's side, we've had those lobster pieces dredged in a Wonder Flour paprika cayenne chili pepper mixture.
Now you mentioned Wondra flour. That's a pre-gelatinized flour. Each of the starch granules have been partially cooked so it'll disperse evenly in a liquid, although it does brown a little differently than standard, run-of-the-mill all-purpose flour.
Angries are out. Toss them up. Turn them around.
Those lobster pieces now in that pan, you saute with some olive oil.
Also, Chef Burke has taken that tapioca, added the shrimp paste, ground lamb mixture. He's rolled them into balls and he's wrapped them in saran wrap, supposedly for steaming.
So the same shrimp and tapioca mixture that went into the brick dough has been mixed with some ground lamb that is now being formed into what looks like little lamb dumplings. Now back over with the Iron Chef, his hickory smoked lamb loin is out of the smoker and has gone down next to that leg of lamb and the lemons that we saw on the grill earlier.
We can see the challenger, Chef Burke, is taking those very thin slices of lamb meat. He's laying them onto that rock, that giant salt rock.
Well, isn't that clever? He is. I think he's essentially, of course, if you left it there long enough, the meat would cure because it's sitting on solid salt. But given the amount of time he's got left, all it's going to do is season it, maybe pull a little moisture out of it. Back in the Iron Chef's kitchen, sous chef Brian is straining the mole sauce, getting all of the solid pieces out of that. I also see the quail eggs have been cracked open and are frying in a pan. Now, we'll go back to the challenger side. His sous chef Chris has pulled out some puff pastry and cut that into rounds. Those rounds have gone on top of the minestrone soup, along with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Now, all of those will be headed off to the convection oven. Look at these perfectly cooked pieces of loin Chef Flay's cutting up and laying out on, what are you laying those out on, Chef?
Home fries.
Those are indeed home fries. Perfectly cooked pieces of that lamb loin. But those home fries are the sauteed potatoes we saw sous chef Brian working with earlier. Both sides of the kitchen are starting to plate, even though we have almost 18 minutes left in the battle. On Chef Burke's side, the French fry rings coming out of the deep fryer. Frying them twice like that should set the fries into that ring shape once the mold is removed.
There's a pan on the challenger side with ground lamb, tomatoes, onion, ketchup, and tomato paste. That's stewing right now.
Now over in the Iron Chef's domain, both the cumin-crusted and the spiced rubbed racks of lamb come out of the oven. Bobby Flay now has that spiced rubbed rack on his board. Iron Chef Flay getting ready to carve one of those French bones sticking out, making nice little handles.
The challenger has now brought out some fresh langoustine.
Okay, langoustine is a French name for what are essentially large prawns, a crustacean. It's a member of the lobster family.
Those langoustines are currently cooking off in oil and butter.
Okay, back on the Iron Chef side, his sous chef Dan is whipping up something I don't know.
Yeah, he's whisking some eggs. Would that be a mayonnaise or a hollandaise?
Hollandaise. All right, so Dan whipping up a quick hollandaise sauce. We'll have to wait and see which dish that goes with. Over on the challengers side of the stadium, I see sous chef Jason dropping those burrito wraps into the deep fry. Those wraps contain the long strips of the leg of lamb and the shrimp puree. Those should cook up nice and quick in that environment. I also saw Chef Burke put some lamb broth on the stove.
Give me a teapot to pour it in with. How many minutes? Time, please.
15 minutes to go.
Time keeps on ticking, ticking, ticking. Away at Kitchen Stadium as Battle Lamb reaches its crescendo. Iron Chef Bobby Flay has begun his plating with a smoked lamb loin out on a plate with some home fries. He also has his baby artichoke hearts in the deep fryer, and some quail eggs are frying up in a pan. The challenger Chef David Burke has made up some lamb and tapioca dumplings that are being steamed. Some lamb sashimi is curing out on his salt rock, and he has some whole langoustine sauteing in a pan. Who will be the victor? Will it be challenger David Burke, or will it be Iron Chef Bobby Flay? There's only one way to find out. Iron Chef America will continue. Welcome back to Iron Chef America, food fans and Battle Lamb, where Iron Chef Bobby Flay is taking on the challenger Chef David Burke. Iron Chef Flay has his lamb loin and home fries already on a plate. He has taken his horseradish and blackberry sauce off the stove, and his chickpea and cornmeal puree is out of the blast chiller, and it's been cut into rounds and then moved to the deep fryer. Meanwhile, challenger David Burke has added his kumquat sauce to the raw lamb and salt rock dish. The langoustines are out of the frying pan, and some pieces of lamb loin have been pounded flat and are in a pan to saute. Now let's get back to the action.
Toss that,
we could see Challenger Burke using a device that I have never seen used for platings. It looks a lot like what florists use to mount floral arrangements. Our Chef Bobby Flay still tinkering with some heat over here on his what we called earlier surf and turf. He's checking that piece of loin for doneness. His sous chef Brian now pulling the sweet potato au gratin out of the oven. Back over on the challenger side, the burrito wraps have been pulled from the deep fryer and sliced into pieces. Those pieces have been added to the round bale bed. Chef Burke now adding the lobster pieces that were dredged in wonder flour as well.
I need an angry sauce, guys.
He's just called for what he said was an angry sauce.
An angry sauce.
An angry sauce.
Well, an angry sauce, or as they say in Italy, arrabbiata, is a tomato and chili-based sauce. Very spicy.
Let's go, fellas. Showtime.
Over on the Iron Chef side, you can see Bobby Flay plating his fried quail egg. I know what the Iron Chef is making. It's green eggs and lamb. Well, it's eggs and lamb, at least. They aren't actually green.
Not yet.
Not yet. There you go.
Well, what do you know? I actually got one right. Now we just have to wait for some sort of green to be added to that. The hollandaise sauce would seem a natural, except it's not green yet. We'll just have to wait and see what the Iron Chef has in mind. Over on David Burke's side, the French fry rings have been plated. The stewed tomato, onion, and ground lamb mixture inside that. All of it topped with mashed potatoes. Back with the Iron Chef, he has plated his surf and turf lamb and shrimp skewers with some of the mint and pea puree underneath that. Over on the challenger side, Chef Burke has taken that thin pounded piece of lamb that was quickly seared, put that on a plate with a lamb dumpling and one of those whole langoustines. Now back over with the Iron Chef. We see what appears to be a mole over there in the blender. Iron Chef Flay may have strained that and then added some of the solids back and blended that just to change the consistency of that sauce, and texture being a huge part of how this works.
3 minutes to go.
Over on the challenger side, Chef Burke has brought the lamb minestrone soup out of the oven. You see that beautiful golden brown puff pastry on the top of that bowl. Now back over on the Iron Chef side.
That's good.
We just saw that potato au gratin go down on the plate. The spiced rub rack of lamb is now joining it. The Iron Chef now adding the blackberry and horseradish sauce on top. Over on the challenger side, I see some brandy snifters over there. Not sure what he's going to be doing with those yet. Chef Burke now plating the pastrami spiced rack of lamb. That going down on the plate with a French fry ring and mashed potato.
Iron Chef Bobby Flay just working on another one of his platings. This is the cumin crusted rack of lamb. There's a pomegranate yogurt mixture there as well.
So a very Mediterranean presentation today from the Iron Chef.
There's also a little, that was that chickpea cornmeal mixture that's
what's in the square pan, right? The square baking pan.
Yeah, Brian cut rounds from that.
Okay, one of those grilled lemon halves has gone on the plate as well. I still can't quite figure out the order of how he's going to serve things. I'm going to assume that the eggs and lamb, green eggs and lamb, are going to be his first course. Then we know he's got the spice rub lamb with the blackberry sauce. He's got the surf and turf with the pea sauce. The Iron Chef also with the cumin-crusted rack of lamb. We're still missing the grilled leg of lamb and the mole sauce, so perhaps those two will be combined for his fifth dish. Let me move over to the challenger side and see if I can recap over there.
Let's keep moving.
We know that David Burke, we assume, will open with that kind of carpaccio slash sashimi dish. He's got his angry lamb and lobster, which is this kind of tower of artistry that he's got working over there. Chef Burke also with the lamb minestrone soup that was covered with the puff pastry dough.
Wow, that was great.
He's got the pastrami spiced rack of lamb on the plate with the French fry ring. Challenger also with the seared lamb with the tapioca dumpling and the whole langoustine. Kevin, can you see what Chef Burke is pouring into that snifter there?
Into the cognac glasses, Chef is pouring, is that a stock or a consomme?
It could be consomme. He probably hasn't had time to really make a stock, but the consomme could be made from the broth that Chef Burke had on the stove earlier.
I got it.
1 minute to go.
60 seconds left in Battle Lamb. The chairman keeping an eye on everything.
I'm like walking around in circles today.
Bobby Flay hustling to get his dishes together.
Iron Chef has taken a lamb of leg, poked a leg of lamb. A leg of lamb.
Got it.
Poked a hole in the middle, stuck a piece of asparagus right down in there, and he's covered it with that mole sauce he was working on.
Okay, so the fifth dish, now down for the Iron Chef Bobby Flay, now putting his hollandaise sauce over the quail egg. Some cilantro added to it to give it that vibrant green color. Truly, green eggs and lamb on that plate. Let's look over at the salt rock and lamb sashimi on the challenger side. You can actually see that meat is shriveled up just a bit. As it's taken some seasoning, you can see some moisture running down away from the meat. I also see sauce going down the vertical lobster and brick dough rack dish.
That sauce that we just saw David Burke working with is a mixture of veal stock and kumquat, Elton.
So that would be the angry sauce on top of the angry lobster. Still not 100% sure what he's angry about, except the bed of nails he's resting on. Everyone done at plenty of time today. No panic in Kitchen Stadium yet.
1.
Put it down and walk away, kids. Battle Lamb is history. And the chairman looks very pleased indeed. Battle Lamb may be over, but there's plenty of tension in the air because judgment time approaches on Iron Chef America.
Next Sunday, a world premiere, Iron Chef America.
There is bacon ice cream coming out of the machine.
Iron Chef Kat Cora hams it up.
She's got an evil grin on her face.
In an all-out battle.
That is a Mac Daddy pork chop.
An all-new Iron Chef America, Cora versus Fraser. Next Sunday night at 9, 8 Central on Food Network.
No matter how you look at it,
it's going.
Our nighttime shows will really grab you.
Oh, can he save it? Oh, no.
Food Network Challenge and Iron Chef America. Sunday and Thursday nights only on Food Network.
Judgment time has arrived in Kitchen Stadium, but this isn't a willy-nilly procedure here. We've got rules about judging and scoring and whatnot, and to explain those rules, we go to Kevin Brosh.
Absolutely, Elton. Here's how it all goes down. Each judge can award a chef up to 20 points total, with 10 points possible for taste, 5 points for plating design, how they've laid out their food for presentation, and as many as 5 points for the originality in the use of today's secret ingredients. May the best chef prevail.
Thanks, Kevin. I think we're all clear on the scoring. Now let's go to the chairman and get the judging underway.
Iron Chef Flay, you always work with such agility.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What was your theme to today's secret ingredient?
Well, you know, lamb is actually an ingredient that I love to work with. One of the things I decided not to do was to mask the flavor of the lamb too much. And so I'm just trying to enhance it a little bit.
Shall we begin?
Sure. This is my version of green eggs and lamb. And it's a quail egg. And it has a very, very light, almost hollandaise-like sauce, and it has some cilantro and parsley in it. The lamb is actually very lightly smoked, and then underneath it is some tiny little hash browns.
I love how updated this is. You know, like you've got a quail egg, not, you know, a big fat chicken egg. And I love this hollandaise-ish thing that is much lighter. It's a lovely compliment.
I adore it. It's delicious. It's pretty. I would like to eat the whole plate, but I know I have to pace myself.
Correct. You have 10 dishes to go.
That's excellent. I love the smoky flavor. I love that it's comfort food. It's food I'm actually really familiar with, but I think the sauces weren't heavy at all, like you had said, and it doesn't overwhelm it, and the meat really shines through.
Thank you. We're doing a little surf and turf today, and this is the loin of lamb that has a little balsamic glaze. The lobster is also, it's first poached and then grilled along with the lamb, and the sauce is a fresh pea, mint, and charred jalapeno.
The sauce is so refreshing, and it seemed like you see so much sauce with your eye, but when you taste it, it's so sort of translucent tasting that you really taste the meat. It's really lovely.
I love this panel.
There's a couple of wow moments in this dish. Wow, that mint is so fresh. Wow, that there's that hint of chili. I think it's really nice that the lobster goes as well with the mint sauce, which is not something I would have initially thought of, as the lamb goes with the mint sauce. So it was a little daring, but delicious.
Thank you. This is actually the leg of lamb. The sauce is going to light you up a little bit. Mole sauces have lots of ingredients in it. This one has tomatoes, 3 different kinds of red chilies. It has blue corn tortillas. It has some raisins. It has some cinnamon, some allspice, a little molasses, some maple syrup, and then we thicken it with peanuts and some coconut milk to kind of chill out the chilies a little bit. And so a little bit of that sauce goes a long way.
I think it's amazing to have such complexity, such flavor in a rich, deep, instant sauce. Congratulations on that.
Well, I'm happy to say I think I like lamb. Really delicious. It's a little bit spicy for me, but I'm a wimp. But I really like it.
So this one is actually a Greek-inspired dish. This is a lamb that we crusted with a little bit of cumin. There's a chickpea polenta, which is that small disc here. There's some Greek yogurt that's been marbled with some pomegranate molasses, and we grilled the lemons, and then we sauced the plate with a fresh oregano vinaigrette.
This is my favorite dish. I think it's really, really good.
Thank you.
I love Greek yogurt. I love that thick, creamy texture.
I have to tell you, this is we disagree on this one. I mean, with all due respect, Iron Chef.
No, you have to.
The yogurt's just not working for me.
Okay.
At all. But I like the rack is lovely.
Okay, this is the last course, and for the last course, I'm just going to grate a little something on here. This is fresh horseradish, and what you're eating is a rack of lamb with a crushed blackberry and horseradish sauce, and there's a sweet potato gratin there with some smoked chili peppers and a little bit of cilantro oil.
I was afraid somebody was going to do an ice cream tonight, so I was glad that nobody did an ice cream.
You obviously watch Iron Chef.
But this is as close to dessert. It's delicious.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
really buttery, though. Like, how did you make the
There's a little bit of
gratin?
cream in there, just a little.
It's really delicious. It's different. It's really mellow.
Thank you.
I just think all the flavors work so well together in this. And the little kick of the horseradish takes it over the top.
Oh, good. I get to disagree. See, I think it's very sweet. But
You think it's too sweet?
I think it's too sweet, but I think that's a palate thing, because I tend not to like fruit sauces and fruits and meats, and so if you did, this is great because it's got the hit of the horseradish to undercut that sweetness, and if you don't, it's not quite enough.
As always, an honor, Iron Chef Flay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chef Burke, you worked with such a samurai spirit out there in Kitchen Stadium. Very impressive.
It was tough.
Can you please tell us what your theme was to today's secret ingredient?
Well, we did 5 courses. The first one being an appetizer course, and one of the classic appetizers, sashimi. And we did it with lamb today. The presentation piece is a rock of pure organic salt from the Himalayas, and what it does is actually cures or seasons the fish or meat as it goes out to the table. This jelly you have, or the sauce, is a hot and sour kumquat jalapeno mint jelly.
Chef Burke, why? Why raw lamb?
Well, she's scared of raw lamb.
It's not that I'm scared. It's just that I'm petrified. I'm going to taste it because I love you.
Thank you. You're going to like it.
I like it. The taste of the meat's great. Like, you're not sure what to expect when you put it in your mouth, and you're a little afraid, but it tastes fantastic. And the sauce is lovely. I really like the peppers a lot.
And I actually really liked the sauce a lot. You know, you're never going to get me to love eating raw meat, but I'm glad I did it, and I appreciate your efforts.
This is lamb minestrone. Inside you have lamb broth, little diddly pasta, lamb meatballs, garlic, zucchini, basil, tomatoes. And there's some caramelized cheese on top, and there's some fresh Parmesan on the side.
It's so many layers. It was like I had to start on the pastry for a little while. And then the broth is really lovely.
It's a fantastic presentation with these little saucepans and the big puff, and they're so beautifully browned. Once you get inside, it's completely warming and inviting, and there's something interesting in every bite, which is, a good thing.
This is angry lobster and lamb. This is the leg that I first cut, and I butterflied some of the strips of lamb, put it into something called brick dough. I made a mousse out of shrimp and lobster. The lamb is then quickly fried, and the lobster is cut up, dredged in what we call angry flour, and then in the angry sauce, we call that, is a combination of the pan drippings from the lobster, which have red chili flakes and garlic, lemon, and basil.
The angry lobster steals the show. It is so good, but that to me is what this dish is all about. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. It delivered. It's delicious, but it's about the lobster and not the lamb to me.
I'm not a big fan of the lamb dish. The meat's kind of tough, and it just didn't kill me. It was sort of plain, and it seemed a little bit like an afterthought.
This is minute steak of lamb, which I've sliced. It's got prawns and a dumpling made of lamb and prawn that is rolled in tapioca and steamed. The sauce is made with red wine, lamb, and shrimp shells.
I love this. I think it's a successful marriage of the surf and turf, and it's interesting. And I think this is a really successful way to do it within the dumplings itself. I think it's great.
I love this. This is the kind of dish you don't want to stop eating. I love all three things. So surprising, the dumpling, and really tasty and fun. And the shrimp was delicious. The lamb I love.
This is a rack of lamb, which is seasoned with pastrami spices. You also have potatoes. There's lamb chili in there, some straightforward vegetables with butter. And you have a lamb consomme that is meant to actually tame down some of the spice from the pastrami to drink it as you're eating your dish.
It's wonderful. I like this dish a lot. It's sort of a steamy, sultry dish. The meat's really good. It's fun to taste the pastrami spices on there. The meat is a little bit well done. It got a little bit tough, but the flavor is still really fantastic.
Your presentations are so playful. It's wonderful to hear you talk about them and explain how it all comes together. And then I love the turret of fries, the tower of fries.
You definitely saved the best for last.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I think it's extraordinary. The consomme there's something very sexy about it. The smoke is coming out of it, and it's really warm and hearty, and the meat is terrific.
Excellent job,
Thank you,
Burke. Thank you.
Thank you.
The verdict when Iron Chef America returns. Welcome back to Iron Chef America in Kitchen Stadium, where the Battle of the Lambs has grown silent. Sorry. The judges have consumed the evidence. They have come to a decision. Now, to find out what the verdict might be, let's go up to the chairman.
Today, two champions met in Battle Lamb here in Kitchen Stadium. Iron Chef Flay, Chef Burke. The judges have spoken. And the winner is Iron Chef Flay.
Wow, what a battle. Chef David Burke with a perfect score in plating and near perfection, at least in the mind of our judges, for originality. But it was the Iron Chef, Bobby Flay's 8-point win in the all-important taste category that helped lead him and his team to ultimate victory. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. It wandered into Kitchen Stadium, and into 3 judges did go. Well, all right, it isn't very good, but gosh darn it, the culinary conjurings of today's challengers, Flay, the victor, and Chef Burke have left me feeling kind of poetic. How about you? Get it? How about, oh, never mind. I'm Alton Brown, and on behalf of the chairman, Kevin Brosh, and everyone at Kitchen Stadium, I bid you good evening.